Very good afternoon to all of you. Let me welcome you all for this knowledge sharing session organized by Association of Indian Management Schools. As you all know, the Association of Indian Management School was started 35 years back as a networking body of the business schools in India. Currently, we have 750 business schools as a members of this association, and we also actively involved in advocacy role. And now, currently, I am the president of Association of Indian Management School. My name is Nandagopal. I am also the director general of the Saraswathi Thyagaraja College at Polachi in Coimbatore district. I was a past former director of PhD Institute of Management and Xavier Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship. And we took a lot of initiative for the development of the faculty and also overall growth of the business schools in this country. Last several years, the AIMS has played a very major role in the growth and development of the management education in this country. Now, currently, we are also more focusing on the development of the faculty and students. We believe at AIMS that the major stakeholders of the business schools is the students and faculty members. That is the reason why we have started this series of engaging the faculty and student members. And this program has received a very good response, and we are happy that a lot of faculty members and student friends are getting benefit out of this program. And today we have a very interesting topic, and also we have a distinguished speaker who has experience in the domain area of the topic is with us today to talk to you on branding of an academic institution. Maybe 20 years back, if somebody talked about branding of an academic institution, people would have not believed it. They all thought that there is no need for branding and academic institutions. When ICFAI was established, ICFAI was something unique. In fact, interestingly, I was associated or I was closely connected with ICFAI from the day one in 1985 when it was started at Hyderabad. I was at the Institute of Public Enterprise. I happened to attend the inaugural session of the ICFAI. Then Finance Secretary Mr. T.L. Shankar, who happened to be my director at Institute of Public Enterprise, because he is attending the program, I attended the program. That is how the inaugural day of the ICFAI, I was there. And then we also continuously follow the activities of the ICFAI. Today, ICFAI became a very, very strong brand in Indian management education field. They started with the financial and they had a proposal to start marketing academy. Unfortunately, death of Professor Pandali, they could not do it, but other areas, financial management, and then moved to general management. So they created a huge structure under the visionary leadership of Dr. SSV. And we have Professor Dr. Our Sudhakar Rao, who was closely associated with the institution, and he is responsible for the branding. I think people who follow him in Facebook, Instagram, and other social media will know how active he is and the kind of activities and the versatile type of person. A lot of activities, you can cycling and so many things he does, and he keeps engaged himself. And basically, he's an accomplished brand strategist, author, and a startup mentor and a social media advisor. He's basically mechanical engineering from at the graduate level and completed his management program MBA at the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. And after that, he joined with a few companies, and then he took over the responsibility of branding the ICFAI. And he also underwent a postgraduate program in MIT Sloan School of Management and Design Thinking. And he has a 2 decades of track record of branding the academic institution. In fact, it's a very interesting topic, and many of the business schools are really suffering the issue of the branding, especially business schools. Of course, most of the academic institutions also would like to brand. I think with this background, And I'm very happy to welcome Professor Sudhakar Rao. In fact, I disturbed him on Sunday and readily agreed to address all of us. And I'm thankful to Professor Sudhakar Rao on behalf of the AIMS and personal behalf, welcome you. And participants, I think the participants' response is overwhelming. Every program, we have very good response. Only thing, we could not accommodate more than 100 people. The remaining people all watch in YouTube. And because of technical reasons, we want people to get into YouTube so that our rating in YouTube also will increase. That's the reason. So we look forward for your interactive session. I'm happy to welcome all the distinguished participants. I think for the information of Sudhakar Rao, we used to have Professor T.V. Rao. I think I hope you have joined. Every week I could see Professor T.V. Rao and our local Hyderabad man, our senior professor, also used to attend. So there are very senior people attend these sessions. With this introduction, once again, and Pradap Reddy also used to attend from Hyderabad. So I think that shows the quality of this program and how they like this program. With this introduction, I hand it over to Professor Sudhakar Rao. And I request all of you to mute this thing. In case if you have questions, you can put it in the chat box. And if you have time, we can also allow you to speak. But we will follow the rule of the chat box. Myself will look into the questions, and Mr. Sudhakar also will look into the questions. We will respond to any questions. With this, once again, I hand it over to Sudhakar Rao.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for inviting me to this session. It's a great honor and a privilege to be part of this August gathering. I can see a lot of names around the screen. All the distinguished professors, good afternoon to you and welcome to this conversation. We should be able to have a good Q&A. I think what we should take home is responses and also the opportunity to ask questions. I think that should be a very, very important priority for us. But before that, for about 10-15 minutes or so, I'll be able to give some overview. And after that, we'll invite questions. And large part of our time will be dedicated to questions. So all of you are from varieties of business schools, institutions of management, whatever be the name. I think we are all teaching management, teaching business management to students who come to our campuses. In our country, we are bestowed with a large number of business schools, actually, large number of management schools, close to 4,000 or the last count was about 3,700 institutions. There could be more. And these are categorized into roughly the top level business schools with IIMs and the ilk, followed by a few private institutions which are trying to ape the top B schools. And below that, you have a tier 2 business schools and tier 3 business schools. We have government run business schools. That's the huge underbelly of our country. And today, we'll be focusing on some of the issues that we can take into cognizance with respect to branding. First of all, you would have seen that a large number of our fraternity, members of the fraternity would not use the words branding, would not like to use the words marketing earlier also. There is a hesitation in general to use the word. And education is supposed to speak for itself. Our own activities and good work is supposed to speak for itself, but I don't agree with that in the sense that gone are the days when our work used to speak for itself. We need to speak for the work. That is a little bit of effort, a little bit of a structured effort with some kind of smart work is called branding. And we need to talk about what we are doing and showcase and present it to the target audience or varieties of audiences that we have in a possibly better manner. Now, all these business schools and institutions and all these faculty members and other stakeholders, they all must be thinking from inside, what are we doing? there are so many business schools. Who is the best? The students must be thinking the same thing. The faculty members must be thinking the same thing. Even the people who own these institutions and people who manage or run these institutions, everybody must be thinking that who is the best. I think that's a good question, but that's not a good question to start with. The right question for us is to, how different am I among several business schools that we have? Am I any different? Well, all these 3,700 schools need not compete with everyone. We have different categories. You have your own competition. Among your competition, how do you distinguish yourself is extremely important. I think if we start our thinking with the question of distinguishing ourselves in a related environment, you don't want to compare and distinguish yourself with one of the business schools that is far ahead of you or very different from you. We don't want to compare. I mean, it's an unrelated differentiation. We need to actually focus on related differentiation and try and build parameters which will help us seen as being very different from the others. Then the students who join us would like to rate us better and they would like to prefer our business school. The faculty who would like to join us and teach with us, they would prefer as a good institution. Similarly, all other stakeholders will have a positive disposition of mind. So in summary, how do we create a positive disposition of mind for various stakeholders towards our institution is the branding, or is the result of the branding. And now there is a confusion between marketing and branding, sales and admissions and all. Yes, not many institutions, I said earlier, wanted to talk about branding, and they thought branding is deemed to have been done or deemed to have been made. Admissions is a process where your application forms are sold either online or offline, and people respond to that. They fill up the application forms, they submit, and they seek admission process. And the team that helps them to go through the admission process and they come to the interview, if you have interviews and written tests and the entire process of selection. And there it ends. The admission process ends there, or the admissions team's responsibilities must end there. And then there should be a separate set of people who will filter these students who have applied to us. At your headquarters level or at your main office level, you will have a team that will filter these applicants and then select the best. The first team cannot do the second job, and the second team should not do the first job. Otherwise, it's a clash of the roles and the vested interest will creep in. Now, after the admissions process is conducted and some selection is made, the students are handed over to the campus. And within the campus is run by your campus director, faculty members, largely academic and only academic people are running that, with some administrative staff who are running your student services on one hand and enterprise-wide solutions on the other, placements on the third. But largely, 80%, 85% of them are faculty members and teachers. So they take care of these students, and with the support of all these allied departments, they run that. But where is branding? Now, branding is something which has to be done much before the admissions begin, and it has to be done throughout the year. It is not that only at the time of admissions we begin some branding exercise, and branding people think is only about advertising, both online and offline or on social media. No, it's not the entirety. Yes, you need to put out right kind of advertisements in the right channels, in the right newspapers, in the right digital channels as well. But the right kind of message has to go. But what are you about? What are you about? The result of branding will probably end up helping the admissions team or the marketing team or the sales team. So therefore, a lot of your track record or your own performance within the campus after the student joins, based on that delivery and the delivery track record, you create branding parameters, and those parameters will be put into the communication process, and the world will be let know that these are the good things that are happening. And then a positive disposition of mind takes place towards all these parameters, and then the students and their parents and their undergrad teachers, all of them will recommend our business school, and that's how they buy the application form, and the rest of the thing happens. You know all these things. Now, if you take stakeholder-wise, for example, the important stakeholders in a management institution is faculty members. 80-85%, as I said, is teachers, faculty members. What can the others do? The others, even if they want to stop admissions to your management institution, they cannot. If your institution is great and these marketing people, they stand in the way and spread their arms and say, stop, don't go to the institution, they won't be able to stop. So the role played by the non-faculty members will not be very, very significant, both in success and both in non-success. That is, if you want to get more number of students, the role played by your admissions team will not be more than 15% of its contribution. Similarly, to stop your admissions also, the role played by your admissions team, just in case it is against you, they won't be able to affect you beyond 15%. Which means, who will be able to affect your admissions and who will be able to affect the progress? The 85% of the faculty members only. They are the largest stakeholders in running the campus, in the campus delivery, in fulfilling the promise. Okay, others might help you in communicating it properly, but branding is branding, communicating is communicating. So therefore, branding has to be largely done and lived through by the faculty members. And those faculty members are the most knowledgeable resources that we have on our campuses. They are the most distinguished fellows that we have on our campuses. And day in and day out, we teach the students what is branding, what is positioning, what is marketing, what is sales. But do we practice it? Do we have roles for ourselves? Or do we guide the other members of marketing team or admissions team how to go about it? Can we make the life of a marketing person or admissions person easier with the involvement of these faculty members, shaping the contours of your branding exercise so that the remaining work for the others is easier? I think that's the need of the hour. I think with the 85% of the stakeholders, that is faculty, will have to take a pivotal role in creating a positive disposition of mind. It starts with how we teach the student and how we enter the classroom, and how do we come across, how do we appear, how do we talk, how do we address them. Our interactions for the 60-minute, 70-minute sessions, day in and day out, throughout your 2-year program, defines branding, defines what your institution is all about. It is the experience of our customer, sorry to say that, but the student who is in front of us, the real-time discussions, conversations, and experience between the teacher and the student. The experience of the student at the fee counter, at the library, at the mess, at the reception, at the toilets, at exam centers, so on and so forth. All these sum total results in branding. And out of this, majority is driven by faculty members. What kind of experience the students are having for sports, for cultural activities, for leadership training. I think these are important. So having said that, faculty members have a greater say and greater role. Can we make our campuses student-run campuses to differentiate ourselves? There's nothing like, sitting in front of them and telling them, hey, my school is a great school. Please tell everyone in the world that my school is a great school because you studied here. It will not work. Merely by wishing and by talking that you are great will not actually work out to be great. They follow you. If you really believe as faculty members that you are a great school, and in your behavior, in your actions, in your non-official conversations, if you communicate very matter-of-factly or with great pride, what is true about your institution, that is the real branding of the institution. That only finally translates into becoming a good institution. So therefore, we have to live it with us. We have to ingrain a particular feeling about our business school and a desired feeling of our business school, and then slowly cultivate in our talks, official, non-official, when others are watching, when nobody is watching. And then students very nicely observe you and pick up, hey, my school is great. We teach a lot of things that what the future managers will have to be, they need to be this, they need to be that. But do we practice when we run the business school in our practices? Do we actually walk the talk? Do we only preach and we don't run the institution in a very professional manner? It's our responsibility. Then your branding is affected. Branding is first being it. You have to be it. Later, you have to talk about it. Talking is 20%, but being it is 80%. So you be a good business school, you be a good role model, you be giving a good experience to the students, you be solving problems for the students, you give value to the students in their transactions in our business school, their placement, their soft skills, their training for the real world, their experiences, no shortchanging, no shortcuts, no taking chances, the rigor, and therefore comes the respect. When you have all these things lived through, practiced, and demonstrated by faculty members, the students pick up, and students tell lakhs and lakhs of others outside the world about your business school. So that is the starting point. So faculty is the fountainhead for branding for a business school. Not merely by talking about it, but it is totally by practicing it and creating experiences for others. How do we treat our colleagues? Suppose I am the professor of marketing head area and I have another 12 faculty members. How do I treat my faculty members? In front of students and not in front of students. What are the practices that are existing within my business school? I think these practices will go a long way in shaping some kind of positive disposition about what I am. So as I said, branding is about being first. By my behavior, if I am a good person, then there is a positive disposition. If I'm a good leader, others will follow me. If I'm a good teacher and I also practice what I teach, for example, I'll give a very, very simple example. We keep notice boards everywhere in our campus. All the notice boards look alike. Just take a look at it. They should look alike. Do we have the parameters of your logo appearing in the same size, same color, same font every time? Do we sign the notices in the notice board or we take it as granted? Okay, any notice without signing also is deemed to have been a notice. These days we use it on social media, we use it on WhatsApp or internal messenger, so on and so forth. But if wherever it is, whether offline or online notices, do they appear consistent? They don't have to appear consistent, is what you say, then there is something wrong. So my own treatment of my brand and my value for being consistent is questionable, then I am not being a good brand. Whether it is the meeting I conduct or the notice that I put or the way I appear or the value I give to a given schedule and curriculum and the timetable or any event that I conduct or a program that will begin at 3 p.m. So it has to begin at 3 p.m. So what value are you connoting by your actions and how consistent are you? Consistency number one, consistency number two, that is action number one, action number two, and consistency in all these actions will result in a consistent pattern of your behavior, and a consistent pattern of your behavior is nothing but a brand. We all have studied this. We all are teaching these things to the students, but we ourselves will have to take the lead and make sure that the teachers take the lead and make sure that the students follow it. Are we making sure that this campus is run by students? Are there large number of activities that are designed for students, making it appear that it is run by the students and we guiding them from behind is also a good example. Youngsters are full of energy and ideas. But before that, how is the institution positioned? Do we do a performance, do we do a perception mapping? How is it perceived outside? Are we closer to IIMs? Are we closer to some other institution? Are we closer to a third-rate institution? Where are we? How are we perceived? If there is something wrong in the desired perception, then we need to change. So how do we go about building the positioning of your institution? I think positioning is something which we teach all the time. Marketing professors, they teach in a very great manner, but we don't practice to a large extent. I think a positioning exercise or a strategy should be arrived at by involving several stakeholders, and it can be run into what is called a competition for students and competition for faculty. You can crowdsource the ideas like that. When we crowdsource the ideas like that, we'll get a very good idea about what others are thinking, the internal stakeholders are thinking about it. More heads put together will result in what we desire to have and where we would like to move from here. So, positioning exercise is a great opportunity to restart or begin and start afresh and involve everyone. Have a competition of crowdsourced from among the students, a separate competition for faculty members, separate competition for your alumni. Alumni is a very important stakeholder group. Some of us work in institutions and we go to some other institution, we retire or we leave. But students who study here and who become alumni, they are with the institution throughout their life. They don't have any other option to go. Their degrees are there. Their name is written on their degrees. For a lifetime, they are members. They are the single largest stakeholder group. So therefore, involve the alumni and see what they perceive about it. What are their suggestions? Being open is a mark of leadership, but do we practice that? I think we should practice all that. When we practice these important parameters, the respect grows for us. How open we are demonstrating in our interactions, then the respect grows for us. What are the other measures where the respect can grow? See, one is making an exercise useful to the institution, and because of that exercise, you involve the stakeholders. That's the most genuine way of doing it. So we arrive at the positioning strategy, we take the ideas, and then we arrive at whether it is making any sense or not in the related competitive environment. We are better than XYZ. So what should we call ourselves? I have done the positioning exercise for our ICFAI business school. It's been established now for the last 26 years. But every 5 years or 7 years, probably it is changing. We need to do a cross-check. We need to take feedback. We need to do a perception matrix and then see what can be done. How, in order to win over the competition and also create pride among the students and alumni, how we have to reposition ourselves. In the beginning of our institutional growth, we will be talking about our physical infrastructure, like I have classrooms fitted with ACs, library filled with books. I have a campus with large ground with so many facilities and all. That is basic amenities and basic facilities. In the beginning, we have to do that. But over a period of time, we need to come into what kind of benefits that we provide. We are going to provide good placements. We are going to provide good salary packages. We are going to provide good experience. We are going to make you robust leaders. Any benefit that you want to talk about. In the third stage, I think we'll have to talk about the emotional values, the emotional appeal for the brand. If everyone says that they are going to build leaders, does our curriculum support building leaders? We have to verify that. It has to be truthful, believable. It has to be simple as well. You can't say that you want to beat IIMs. Nobody will believe us. So create a positioning that is believable and true and simple, and talk about only those parameters and keep building by taking all kinds of suggestions from others. At various stages in our journey, we will have to keep changing the positioning platforms. We keep strengthening the positioning if the positioning is right, and make sure that communication tops it. Communication strengthens that kind of positioning. If you are developing leaders, now you may say you are developing new age leaders. But by merely saying that you are developing new age leaders doesn't make your positioning strategy work. You have to go back and see that our campus processes, our activities are all towards developing new age leaders. That is one set of activities. So you have to be what you would like to be, in the sense being is first, then the communication. Then what kind of association we are keeping? We are keeping in the committee of business schools. Where are we present? Are we having a thought leadership sessions? Are we talking? Are we sharing the thoughts? Are we in the lead, or are we in the middle, or are we at the beginning stage? We need to cross check that. I think we should be deriving the benefits of our association by being in the right forum, by talking at a national level or at a regional level. Are you associated with an industry body? It will definitely help you. If you're speaking in these industry bodies or any industry associations, any conferences, symposiums, it will definitely help us. We are all doing that. But when you speak differently, when you make that difference in your talk, in that 15 minutes or 10 minutes talk, you will be revered. And slowly the perception of your brands changes. So that's about communication. Put the best leaders that you have. You may have 3 best leaders who are very good speakers. Ask them to be visible everywhere. Ask them to keep talking about it. That's another way of handling it. The third way of handling it is social media. Now, the social media is extremely important. We are all shy. We don't want to be on social media. We are teachers. It is not for us. This is the general perception among the academics. But that's completely untrue. I think we are here for a purpose. We are here to make some difference to the students who are going to sit in our classroom and convert them into leaders who are not only going to make the industry very, very efficient on one hand, but on the other hand, these leaders are supposed to be socially responsible. They're supposed to be useful to the society. So there's a greater responsibility for us in shaping them. So there is a purpose for us. When we have a purpose, our actions are extremely important. So we have to be on social media. I'm not saying we should be wasting our time on silly things. No, social media can be very nicely harnessed into building your own personal brand. All these faculty members, as I mentioned, 85% of them, if all of them have very good social media presence, the sum total of it is equal to a good image for the institution. If the institution itself has got some kind of social media presence on their official handle, that's not enough. On the personal handles of all these faculty members, we should have good social media presence on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter, YouTube. We need to have at least these 4 or 5. And then what do? We talk about the way you enjoy the classroom sessions, the way you enjoy everyday experience or every week experience. More than a teacher, nobody else will have so many stories to write about. All of you will have huge transactions going on with students, some interesting question asked by a student, some anecdote of an alumnus, some interacting conversation with an industry expert, some milestone of your placement. In a non-commercial way, when you write it in your personal handles, slowly and steadily, it builds your brand. I think that's extremely important. I'll give you one example of Professor Debashish Chatterjee, director of IIM Coimbatore. He uses LinkedIn and Facebook amazingly well about his thoughts. You are a huge fountainhead of thoughts. Why not use some of those things based on an interaction, based on an occasion, based on an event, based on a flashback? There are many ways to actually get onto social media and write small things. Suddenly a student visits you, or you visit some conference. You found your alumnus there. Write about it. Don't be silent. Keep writing, keep talking the way Professor Debashish Chatterjee has written. And also another example I want to give from private business schools, Professor Atul Khosla of Shulini does very well. You can follow and see how he does. Building an institution with great pride, the leaders will have to take the step. And one person is not enough. A battery of 10 people, 15 people who are in charge of various departments, they will have to be active on their social media, and they keep writing about their own facet of your institution. Whatever is their experience and what they are encountering on a daily basis, that'll be very good. I give one example. If you are a school teacher, you're a science teacher, and we are talking about the harmful effects of ultraviolet rays in a class. and you're coming up with some questions from interesting students, curious students. And one of the students says, I would like to have an attire prepared by the entire ozone layer, and then I will go and see the sun from the closest possible distance. It's a curious hypothetical response. If you were a school teacher, would you not write about it? You would definitely write about it. Some of the interesting suggestions given by students in an entrepreneurship class. Sir, if everyone is going to become an entrepreneur, who is going to work for them? It's an interesting hypothetical question. Would you not like to write about it on your LinkedIn? You should. Any management lessons, any leadership lessons that we can learn from daily activities or incidents happening around the world or from a movie, we should definitely be able to write about it. That is one side. The other side is if you vacate social media because of your hesitation, somebody else will take that position. As a social responsibility, we should be there on social media. Our students are there. That is their native place. We need to be there and be a role model so that they follow us. If you're not there, they follow someone else. So one business school to another business school to 3,700 business schools, if none of you are on these social media handles, they follow someone else. A different kind of world and a society is prepared. So that's abdication of our own responsibility, dereliction of duty in one way. So a brand building has to be, or an institution building has to be kept in mind in several activities like this. And we need to be active. Your own publishing, you can give citation, you can talk about your article in simple languages and talk about it LinkedIn, talk about it on Facebook and Instagram, everywhere. Talk about the case that you have dealt with in the classroom. There are many ways in which you can take care of all these things. But believe in that purpose and action out that purpose. So you will be a brand that is called being, and then communicating through social media, communicating through your daily activities, in your interactions and all. There can be no creative person better than you. Believe me, there can be no creative person better than a faculty or an academic in this world. Only one has to sit down and resolve that you would make a difference. Then the difference happens. So branding is about being, and branding is about doing, and branding is about saying it to the world at the third stage. We should not reverse it. We say first and do later is a improper way of handling it. But I think this is the overview I would like to give, and then I'm happy to handle questions, and I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities if you have any questions. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much. I think it was a very interesting session. You also explained how the social media can be branded. I think Professor Simon has raised it. Please go ahead, Mr. Simon. Yeah, I think you can post your questions in the chat box.
Yes, I can see the questions if you post.
Yeah, please start there.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Sandhya. Questions, please.
Sir, let me start my questions, sir.
Yes,
I know you are very active in social media. How do you balance between your personal branding and institutional branding, sir?
As I mentioned some time back, institutional branding alone will not help. Our personal brand is extremely important because personal brand 1 to personal brand 10 is equal to institution. The institution is about people, and people should have their personal brand. And therefore, it is important to encourage your colleagues also to have their personal brand. And then we come across as a very strong force to reckon with on the space of social media. The real estate of social media is a very tricky one. We cannot handle in ones and twos. We have to handle in rows of 10s and 50s. We have to handle like that. There is a consistency of among our own colleagues who behave in a particular fashion, and that is nothing but a reflection of our institution. So it is interlinked, sir. But would you like to waste your time on flimsy things? Answer is no. How would you like to do that? Yes, you are the most creative person, you can do it. And there are examples also who have done it in the past and who are doing it currently. You need to just have to make up your mind to do it. And if you think and believe that this is the right way to do, then you will invest time in that. Believe me, you will do a very good job. You will be the best copywriter. You will be the best and smartest communicator on social media if you decide to actually get into it. All we need to do is break the shackles and get there, and imagine that that is also part of your teaching. Then automatically it will come out extremely well. We need to read up quite a bit. We need to keep ourselves updated. We need to know the language used by the 20-somethings. See, all of us, as I keep saying, we teach 20-somethings. I mean, they are 20-year-olds, generally speaking, 21-year-olds, and taught by 40-year-old people, late 30s or 40-year-old people. And we are monitored and managed by, there's a management team which is, say, 50-year-old or 60-year-old people. And on top of that, you have the ownership team that could be even older than the people who are managing sometimes. But all of us will have to focus and think about these 20-somethings. And these 20-somethings, everyone is competing for. Everyone in the country is like cinemas, entertainment, telecom. Everyone is competing with this 21. Therefore, we have to withstand this challenge and create a special place for ourselves in the mind of the student so that they think positively about us. And we have to communicate and conduct ourselves very well so that we have that unique position left for us. Otherwise, that position is taken over by others from other industries and other categories as well, not just education.
Yes, sir. I think we have a couple of questions, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, you want me to read the question, sir? I can do that.
No, not necessary, sir. You can just read the question and you can pick up.
How to engage students in institutional branding, maybe as a senior student or as an alumnus? Yes, pick up. This is Shubhadeep Chaudhary, I think. Yeah, I can see the name partly. You can engage students in institutional branding in a great manner. Create digital ambassadors from among the students. If you have clubs, make sure that all the club heads are the digital ambassadors and they have the responsibility of promoting all the activities of the institution done by students as well as those done by the institution. Okay. Bringing a very important guest from outside, maybe probably due to the context of the director and the principal, but it can be followed through, and several other activities connected to that can be done downstream, and therefore the students are involved. And when they're involved, the communication happens and it can be spread across among the student bodies. The clubs, various clubs will come together and organize those things, and it will be very good. So you need to have digital ambassadors identified both from junior students as well as senior students. Junior students' potential is great. We should not miss that. And there should be always a level of aspiration that we should create between the first year and the second year. And second years will always try and behave very responsibly when they have a team to follow, their younger team to follow. I think that's what is going to happen in the industry also. Therefore, we should create such levels of aspiration and use the students extremely well. Alumni should be engaged in all activities. Alumni should think that it is their right to visit the institute anytime. So therefore, they should be on our communication databases, and sometimes we should ask them to interact. Especially, you invite, say, four alumni to interact with a guest who has come from US or some other IIM or IIT who has come to your campus. So you can create a special interaction for 4 of these alumni and then with one guest, apart from the lecture that happens or whatever is the main purpose of the visit. So next time, use another 4 alumni. Next time, use another 10 alumni. When you do independent alumni meets, that is of no use. I mean, you have to keep doing it, but engage them in specific activities, then they will be your ambassadors. So students are your ambassadors, alumni are ambassadors, and involve the industry guests also to inaugurate or start several initiatives on your campus. Make them chief guests, let them talk, let them give suggestions, let them be the judges, all those things. Don't ask them only for placements, don't ask them only for projects. Involve them in your institutional processes, then they'll be happy. So we talked about students, we talked about alumni, we talked about industry reps. All of them can be involved, and that's how a good engagement happens.
Thank you. And Dr. Sindhu Nair wants to know about Professor Atul Khosla. Which university, I think you mentioned about Professor Atul Khosla.
Yes, Professor Atul Khosla is Shulini University. You can look at that and you can do that. There is another question, sir. B schools are generally known by their performance in placement, and typically research takes a backseat. So how do you use research for branding? Wonderful question. All the researchers and all the faculty members, they simply don't talk. That's the problem. Can you create a synopsis of your research topic and the usefulness of the topic and put it on social media, for example? No, you will give the entire research report. Then nobody likes to read. I'm not saying that we all have to get something like what the HBR writes. Harvard Business Review, their articles are very written in a simple manner. But that is the direction in which we have to go. And a synopsis of that, how is it going to be useful, may be written and shared. We celebrate research only when we are able to talk about research. We won't be able to celebrate anything if we make it esoteric. So otherwise, we end up celebrating only placements. I think that's the wrong way of branding institutions. A large part of the work is done by faculty members, their research, their contribution. At the end of it, of course, your placements are good. But I think the processes should be the hero. Student is the key, process is the hero in branding of an institution. I think research is one very, very important aspect of that. Make it simple and available to everyone. Only the synopsis you can write and the usefulness of the research.
So there is a question from Sandhya. She is asking, as a faculty, how quickly we can improve our personal brand. Of course, you explained. She wanted some tricks, please.
Yes, it should be part of our habit and not a trick. That is one way of answering that, in the sense that there's no shortcut. You can do quickly a good job, there's no doubt about it. But the way you identify yourself on your social media handles, there is a description part of it. That description part of it, when you describe yourself in 3 words, it has to be pretty unique. Describe yourself on WhatsApp very well and very differently, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, very, very carefully you have to describe yourself. That's the starting point. Second, most of us don't put good pictures. We have to put a very good picture of ourselves. So that's the first part. That's basically the hygiene part of it is put a good picture, describe yourself properly, and be active to start with. And then what you post, what kind of content, as I explained, you will have more creative options and more creative avenues and more number of avenues also to post. You talk about institution, your experiences, your encounters with the students, your milestones, your engagement with the colleagues and other faculty members, appreciation of a colleague. With the peer appreciation is seen as a very, very important downer in this country. I, as a faculty, don't appreciate another faculty, so the student will not appreciate his own classmate. Then somebody in the industry will not appreciate his colleague in the boardroom. This is common. But how do we break this? Let the faculty members start appreciating the colleague, and that will be a good infectious habit going all the way up till the boardroom and the society. So I think those things.
Maybe I will take a last question, sir.
Yes.
When few of the students, I think this is a question from Dara Yoganand. When few of the students who not regular to the college whole year, they waste time. Later, when they passed out, they give a negative feedback about the institution. I think this is basically about the negative feedback. Sometimes the students get, even as an individual, we also try to get people who are really was not deserving people. No, okay. What is your take on this, sir?
Yes, sir. Every institution has got a few black sheep. There's no doubt about it. And they instead of attending the class sessions and complying with our rules and regulations, they try to threaten us by bad-mouthing us in social media and all. So my suggestion to you is, you have a network of individuals, that is students and alumni, who are, for example, I have a network of my own students. I don't teach on a regular, I don't sit in the campus. I sit in my headquarters. But if I were a teacher, regular teacher, I would have had a greater network. But for social media handling purpose, I have a network of 18 people across the country who at any point in time, anything is written about us, they will be defending. I should not defend, they should defend. We recently had a problem and some of our alumni, they came onto social media and they defended their brand because the brand belongs to them and I have created a network. That was the only contribution. And they're always active, they're always checking, they're given the access, they're very responsible. So in order to win over the evil, you have to have a network of good people. And that network, digitally, non-digitally, you should always have that among your students and alumni and faculty members. Share the responsibility, then you become much stronger. And it is doable.
So thank you very much, sir. It was a really very interesting session. I think one learning for myself is how to brand individual, which helps in branding the institution. I know some of the institutions are really branded because of the individual branded, especially the classic example is the ICFAI, which was branded by SSV himself as a brand, and he built up the ICFAI. So I can say SSV was a brand which helped ICFAI to become a brand. So that way, I think excellent. You brought the issue of the concept, and thank you participants for your active participation, and hope you enjoyed the session. And we look forward for all your presence the next week Wednesday session. Thank you very much, Sudhakar Rao ji. Yes, sir.
One point. My last point, because I don't want to leave anything unanswered or unaddressed. One of your members asked about. There are so many institutions and creating a USP. It is difficult. All institutions are into brand building. Creating USP is the differentiator. If any one of you, anytime finds difficulty in creating a differentiator for yourself, consult me. Let me know. We as friends can think through and create a relevant differentiator for your institution. Of course, you can generate it through your, as I mentioned, your students and alumni and faculty members. But just in case it looks like hazy, I can probably look at that if you really want me to look at that. So it is possible, it is doable, and we should just end this session with a great belief in the exercise called branding. And branding is nothing but institution building. Okay, I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. I think thank you for your gesture to help our members, fellow colleagues to brand the institutions also. And in fact, the AIMS has come forward to help the member institution in mentoring them in terms of getting accreditation and other things. I am happy that Mr. Sudhakar Rao has come out voluntarily helping you for the branding also. I think this is the success of the networking. We all as academics and professionals, we try to each help each other, and we look forward for continuous interaction with all of you. Thank you very much, Sudhakar Rao, for your participation. Thank you all. Let us see next week in another interesting session. Bye. Goodbye to all of you.
Thank you all.